Cabinet colleagues, community leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. I'm very happy to join you today for the launch of SGSecure. And glad to see all of you here today, people of different races and religions, from different walks of life, members of the home team, religious leaders, businessmen, teachers, students, some young, others young at heart. But despite your diversity, something important brings us all together. We have all decided to take part in the SGSecure movement, to join the national effort to combat the threat of terrorism. SGSecure is our response to the terrorist threat. Terrorism has become a constant presence in modern life and in our own lives. We've lived with it for 15 years, since 9/11, and since we discovered the JI group in Singapore. We see terrorism in the news every week. New attacks, casualties, the horrifying human tragedies. These incidents threaten religious harmony, undermine trust, and polarize societies. Now, when we travel, we plan carefully, find out where the Singapore embassy is, what numbers to call in times of emergency. Think carefully where to go and where to be extra careful. People have got used to it, life has to go on. And yet we must know that the threat has become more virulent and serious, including the threat to us here in Singapore, in Southeast Asia. It's not just that the frequency of attacks has gone up, but the nature of the attacks has also changed. Previously, many of the attacks were carried out by trained terrorists who belonged to organized groups, and they targeted prominent venues or significant dates. There was some perverse meaning to the attack and organization. Now, many of the attacks are the work of self-radicalized lone wolves. And they go for everyday venues, using ordinary objects, knives, parangs, trucks. In Singapore, this could be an MRT station near your home, could be your favorite hawker center, or a shopping mall. It could happen anywhere. I spoke about this last month at the National Day rally, and even since then, more things have happened. We've seen attacks in Thailand, in the Philippines, and last week there was an attack in New York, a bomb blast, injured 29 people, could easily have been much worse, was intended to cause much more harm. So the question for us is, what do we do about this threat? What can we do about this threat? It's one thing to know that it's a serious problem, but there's another thing to know what we can do about it, and then actually to get down, actually to do it. Usually when people are told about the problem, the first question they ask is, what's the government going to do about it? And in this case, the government is very much doing our part, stepping up measures against terrorism. We study closely the attacks and the developments around the world, the modus operandi, the groups, the trends, where it's happening. We continually update our strategies to detect and to counter extremists, their influences, and what it leads to, violence and terrorism. We are committing resources to strengthen our security forces. For example, this year, we introduced the new emergency response teams to beef up our quick response if an incident happens. But, as you've heard me tell you many times, a government effort alone is not enough. Because terrorism threatens not just our physical safety, but also our social harmony and our way of life. And to protect ourselves, every Singaporean has to play his part. And that's what SGSecure is about. It's about what each of us can do as an individual. It's about how each of us can play our part to protect ourselves and to protect those around us. Lim Swee Say shared with me an anecdote from one of his dialogues. His anecdotes are always better than mine. He asked his residents, if there's an emergency, what can you do? So they looked blankly at him. He says, is there anyone in your family who can help you? They still look blank because there probably isn't. So he asked them again, and if nobody in your family can help you, then which one of your neighbors can help you? Think. And if someone needs first aid, what do you need to have? Do you know where the AED is downstairs of your block? Some blocks already have them. Do you know how to use it? These are very practical and real questions. But Swee Say didn't receive any satisfactory answers. And frankly, if you ask any of us off the cuff to answer these questions, I doubt many of us can give very good answers either. But that is precisely what SGSecure aims to do, to help us, each of us, answer these questions, not just with words, but to know what to do. SGSecure gives everybody a role protecting ourselves, our family, and our country, and will teach you the skills that you need to do so. Let me describe 3 main roles that we expect people to play and that people can be trained to fulfill. First of all, we would like everyone to be a prepared citizen, to learn to protect ourselves, protect our family. Learn to recognize signs of suspicious behavior, identify suspicious items, report it to the authorities. This is the most basic of roles, and we'd like at least one person to be trained in this in every household. And to achieve this, we will be visiting every home in Singapore to raise awareness, to explain what to do in a crisis, and to encourage their families to participate in SGSecure programs. We did this with a PG package, house to house, engaging old folks, talking to them, chatting with them, getting them to know how they can benefit, what they can do. And it was a very positive experience because the people were receptive to our efforts, they asked the right questions, and they took away the important messages that we wanted to leave with them. So we're going to do the same with SGSecure. We started SGSecure engagements this year in May. We've deployed some of our NS men and our full-time NSF from the police and the SCDF to lead this effort. It will take several years because we have nearly 1 million homes in Singapore, but we will go all across Singapore and eventually we will reach everybody. And in the long term, this will make a significant difference to our security. So firstly, you must have active citizens, prepared, knowing what they're going to do. Secondly, we must have active responders. Responders who will be trained to react, to help others in a time of emergency. So, for example, we have a Save a Life initiative. And you will learn how to administer CPR, how to use an AED in case somebody has cardiac arrest. We've already introduced this initiative in 6 constituencies. SCDF and its partners have trained 1,800 residents, and we plan to train at least 300 residents in every constituency. SCDF has already installed nearly 400 AEDs in lift lobbies of HDB blocks in these 6 constituencies. Basically, every 2 blocks will have 1 AED. And we're going to extend this phase by phase, starting from the middle of next year, to all the constituencies in Singapore, so that by 4 years' time, we will have an AED downstairs of every other HDB block. And every neighborhood will have residents who will know how to use them. Lastly, we need effective mobilizers. Mobilizers who are the leaders of the SGSecure movement. You may be a religious leader, you may be a grassroots activist, you may be a unionist, you may be a home team officer or home team volunteer. But you'll have your networks, people who know you well, people who look up to you, and we hope you will champion these SGSecure initiatives with your networks. Resolve frictions that could undermine racial and religious harmony, and mobilize the community both in peacetime and during crisis. You will work closely with the prepared citizens, with the responders, with the mobilizers, other mobilizers, to develop crisis contingency plans for your communities. So, I think we all have a part, either to be a prepared citizen, you know what to do for yourself, for your family, or an active responder, you know how to help others if there's a crisis, or to be a mobilizer, to spread the message, to get people to understand that this is important, to work with people to bring them together at a time when there will be a lot of stress and people will be pulled apart. No role is too small in this national effort. Whichever part you play, you'll be helping to protect Singapore and our way of life. So, if we get this going well, together all of you will be touch points for our community. And I hope you'll put in the time and effort to take part in SGSecure programs. One key program which we are going to run will be the Neighborhood Emergency Preparedness Days, or EP Days. We've had them, but we're going to revamp them, relaunch them, and the EP Days will simulate terrorist attacks in our heartlands, train residents in emergency skills so that you know what to do if you're caught in an attack. So far, we've done this in Chong Pang, in Jurong Springs, in Toa Payoh West, Balestier, and we've trained 2,700 residents and volunteers. And we're going to do this in all the constituencies over the next 2 years. So I hope you will come and you will encourage your family, your neighbors, and your friends to participate in them. We'll also conduct crisis response exercises for community leaders and community emergency response teams to plan how we can provide medical, social, and psychological support after an attack, and to review how we can manage our communal relations. These exercises will help us to bounce back quickly and resiliently after an incident and to come back as one people. There will be other programs for everyone, such as the community vigilance workshops which the PA will organize. You can pick and choose the ones which interest you, but I hope you'll attend a few, if not most of these programs, to equip yourself with relevant skills and knowledge. But while these programs are important, remember they are structured events. They are exercises, they are planned. You come, you know it's going to happen. When something takes place, you are set for it. But emergencies don't happen only when we are teed up for them. They happen when we least expect them, and therefore we must be alert all the time, and alertness must become part of our daily lives. And I think we are getting there. So if you've been reading the newspapers recently, you may have read about the chap who spent several days in the Changi Departure Lounge, I think more than 2 weeks. And he went from lounge to lounge. Each time he produced a pass, he managed to do it, Photoshop on his phone, and got in. But eventually we got him. How did we get him? The staff in one of the lounges were alert. They saw him again, they saw him a third time. They checked. They told the police, we arrested him, he's gone to jail. It shows that it is possible for us to train people. People can be alert, and you can make a difference. You don't have to be a commando. You can be just an ordinary person. You don't even have to be a big hulking fellow. A young lady doing her job, keeping her eyes open, she made a difference. So if we can do it in the airport, I think we can do it in every constituency in Singapore. And one of the things we are going to do to help you to keep alert will be to launch a new SGSecure app. The app can do several things. Send you alerts and advisories when things happen, and if you see something suspicious, then you can use the app to report this, to send information and pictures so that somebody can get it investigated. I'm going to download this app once it's launched, and I hope all of you will do so too. At the heart of all these efforts is our determination to protect our way of life. So far, we've been very fortunate. We've enjoyed racial and religious harmony. We celebrate Religious Harmony Day. We read about riots only in the newspapers, only in the history books, only in scratchy old RTS videos. This is quite unlike many other countries. In our housing estates, in our schools, in our workplaces, we live together, mixed together, integrated together. We are not segregated. We do not ostracize one another. Our places of worship coexist peacefully, side by side. On one street, you can have a temple, a mosque, a church, all next to one another. We count among our friends and neighbors people of different races and religions. It's a harmony that all of us can be proud of, but never forget how hard we have had to work to achieve this. And we've got to continue to work at it and never to take racial harmony for granted. In fact, racial harmony, this is one of the major motivations for us to make changes to the elected presidency, to ensure that a minority race Singaporean becomes president of Singapore from time to time. The president is our head of state. He's the unifying symbol for the nation. He embodies our multiracial society. He must be someone that Singaporeans of all races and religions can identify with. And every citizen must feel that one of his community can become president and regularly does become president because that's a symbol representing all of us. And it'll help to strengthen our sense of identity and the belonging of all ethnic groups. Not just the minority ethnic groups, but also the majority Chinese, because we all have to be conscious that we are living in a multiracial society, and as Mr. Lee said on the 9th of August 1965, this is not a Malay Singapore, not an Indian Singapore, not a Chinese Singapore. This is for everyone. But the president is at one level. The president's symbolism is important, but to make that really work, the symbolism must ring true in our own lives, in our day-to-day experiences, in what it feels like to live in this multiracial society. You can see other multiracial societies where on national days, they also have multiracial performances, different groups, different dance, some in traditional dress. But it is not the reality. And people know that what's on the stage is one thing, what's in real life is different. But in Singapore, what is in real life has to match and does match what we celebrate on National Day, what we build in the icons and the symbols of the state. So we have to continue to uphold our multiracial values, to build and maintain a respectful common space for all. When people incite division and misunderstanding between different races and religions, we have to act firmly against them, whether it's online, whether it's in person, whether it's in print. This is one of the areas where we are hypersensitive and is a no-go. When people do the right thing, we must encourage them and praise them. And that's why we have the IRCCs, interracial and religious confidence circles. You work to strengthen understanding and trust between the different groups in Singapore, and all of you in the IRCCs will play an important role in SGSecure. Not all Singaporeans may join IRCCs, but each Singaporean can and should do more. And here are three things which we can each of us do in our daily lives. First, we can be willing to give and take. We're all free to practice our different customs and religions, but we must also recognize we all share common spaces, be considerate of others, conscious of how our own practices may affect others, particularly those of a different faith. So whether it's prayers from mosques, whether it's burning joss paper, seventh moon, whether it's celebrations, processions, we are all cheek by jowl impinging on one another. We all have to be conscious of that and make adjustments, be tolerant, but at the same time have restraint and understanding. Secondly, we have to reach out to one another, build friendships across different races and religions, take time and effort to learn about each other's cultures and beliefs. And thirdly, we have to speak out against racial and religious tolerance, wherever it happens, and take a firm stand against discrimination, harassment, or violence. Speak out, make clear that such intolerance has no place in our society. And if we can, each of us, do this and imbue this in our children, in schools, in homes, then I think we can build a strong multiracial society. Our problem will continue. A terrorism threat is not going to disappear for quite a long time, and we must expect the terrorists to continue to attack and to plan to attack Singapore. They are targeting not just our physical safety, but the fabric of our society. And when we are confronted with something like this, we can respond in two ways. Either with fear, cower, hunker down, pretend nothing is happening, pretend that the threats don't exist, hope that the troubles will pass us by. Or we can stand up, look the problems straight in the face, understand the dangers we face, know what we can do what we can now and continuing into the future, and make sure that if something does happen, we are ready. And I think that if you ask Singaporeans which of those two we should do, it's quite clear what the answer will be. Stand up, do the right thing, get prepared, gird ourselves. It will happen, but we will be ready when it happens. So I urge each of us to step up to do our part. As the slogan says, stay alert, stay united, stay strong. This is Singapore, this is special. We can do it. If something happens, when it happens, we will stand together and we will endure and show that SGSecure has counted for something. Thank you very much.